And here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Great to see you all. And we continue learning about Rina. And yesterday, Rosh Pincus took Rina, took this joyous singing, took Shira, and broke it into two parts, Shira and Zimra. And he explained to us how Shira is articulating words, thoughts, ideas of thanks, of praises to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zimra is the same praises, thanks, without words. That's at a point of euphoric expression, so excited, so loving, so happy, that you can't even articulate the words. The melody, the underpinnings of the song are sometimes the deepest part of the song, are the depth in which one is connecting without the words. And we ended off yesterday in explaining how David HaMelech sometimes says Mizmar Shir, and sometimes says Shir Mizmar. And we said that in reality this could go both ways. You either start off by explaining, by expressing, by telling all the great, wonderful things that we feel towards Hashem, and you reach such a high point that you no longer could talk, you no longer could express. And at that point, all you could do is sing. That would be Shir Mizmar. But then sometimes you could start with a Mizmar. You have no words to say, you're just feeling so thankful, so happy. And then over time, you could almost land and articulate those words and articulate those things. And Rav Shimshon Pincus now connects this with an idea that we saw earlier in the Sefer, which often when you have such a connection, it both is a reminder of what we learned, and it really gives a little more of a meaning, is if you remember, we had something called Tza'aka and something called Sha'aiva. The beginning of the Sefer dealt a lot with the crying out to Hashem, the screaming to Hashem. Sha'ava is an outcry. Tza'aka is a wordless scream. And at that point we explained that Sha'aiva is when you're screaming out for help. But Tza'aka is when that robber is getting closer and the person doesn't hear you. You don't say any words anymore. You just scream on the top of your lungs. So says Rav Shimshon Pincus, it's the same way in the positive as we're learning here in the thanks and the singing. There's the articulation. There's the putting into words all the reason we are thankful. But then sometimes is that which goes beyond the words, which is just the screams and just the melody and just the song. And Rav Shimshon Pincus takes this and now plays this into the very makeup of the Torah. And this really explains on a very deep way the concept that we're learning, which is the Torah is made up of three elements. We have the oisiyos, the letters, we have the nikudais, which are the vowels, and then we have the taimim, the trop, the song. And he explains that the letters themselves are the revealed part of the Torah. You see the word, you know what the word is, and that's comprised with the nikudais, as the nikudais tell us how to pronounce the word. But what's the niggin, what's the trop? That's the melody beneath. That sometimes tells us the excitement. That sometimes tells us where to stop and where to pause. That gives the emphasis. And that's how he's explaining to us, is similar the Shira and the Zimra. The Shira is the explanation, is the words, is the telling over all the incredible reasons we're thanking Hashem. But the Zimra is that melodious undertone, is that singing, is that song, that moving melody of connection, of thanks to Hashem. And we're going to end today with one more incredible mashal that he gives us. He says, you see a cookie, you see any form of food, do you know what's inside that food? Not really. You see a cookie, so you know, okay, there's some flour, there's some oil. Do you know if there's sugar inside? You have no clue. By looking at the cookie, there's no way to know whether there's sugar inside. Similar to by looking at a word of the Torah, you don't necessarily know, is that word the beginning of the sentence, the end of the sentence, the climax of the sentence. But what is the niggin? That's when you taste the cookie. When you taste the cookie, then you could understand and you could discern the fine ingredients that are within. Oh, there's sugar in there. Oh, there's a little bit of this, there's a little bit of that. That's the niggin, that's the depth to the thanks and to the praise. And these two elements, when they come hand in hand, the Shir Mizmar and the Mizmar Shir, they elevate and they create the greatest praises. Not just turning to Hashem and saying thank you, saying Maidim, but rather both articulating and at the same time coming to this place of song, of singing and thanking Hashem for all the incredible things that we have.